Welcome, guys, to Papa Smoke's wonderfully amazing and informative beginner's guide to Project Zomboid, where we will be discussing character creation, perks, flaws, and starting locations. But before we get into that, please be sure to hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more of these kinds of videos. And if you want to catch me and the man-child live, hit us up on twitch.tv/SmokeyG. That's Smokey G with 3 E's. So here we are, man. Main menu of Project Zomboid. So before we get started on this, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual stats and skills. So when we're dealing with the occupations and the traits, we know what we're talking about. Alright, guys, so here's your passive stats. So you've got your fitness. Fitness is going to affect how far you can run and for how long. So as you're running around, you're going to get more and more and more exhausted, which means you're going to run less fast, less far, until finally you're just going to get to the point where you're just sort of shambling along, which can be really bad if you're being chased down a dark alleyway with a horde of zombies behind you wanting to eat your brains. So high fitness, muy good. Strength is going to affect the amount of damage that you do with melee objects, so bats, axes, rolling pins, stuff like that. Also affects how much that you can carry, and honestly in Zomboid you really can't carry a whole lot. So a high strength is good, although you will get backpacks and satchels and things like that, which give you a weight reduction modifier, which is pretty bloody handy. So keep an eye out for those bags and those backpacks. Under agility is sprinting is how fast you run, light-footed is how quietly you run, nimble is how quickly you go over things, and sneaking is, well sneaking. Into combat, axe, long blunt, and short blunt, in my opinion, are probably the three most useful. Axe is probably one of the best weapons that you can have in the game. It hits like a truck, and it's pretty quiet. Long blunt is things like baseball bats and the like, and short blunts like rolling pins, frying pans. Those three typically you can get fairly easily, particularly the short and the long blunt stuff. Axes you need to get into hardware stores and things to find, but if you get them, they're sweet. Long blades or swords, I don't really see a lot of those. Short blades, kitchen knives, and stuff like that. Also not a bad one because there are just a lot of kitchen knives lying around. Spear, never seen a spear. Maintenance, I guess, is like wrenches and lug nuts and tire pumps and stuff, which, I mean, while I'm using, are probably better used for other things. In your crafting section, carpentry, very useful. That's how you're going to be building walls and bases and stuff like that. Cooking makes your food last longer, gives you more nutritional value. But a lot of these you're going to be able to learn, particularly in the first start of the game, by watching TV, particularly cooking, carpentry, I think farming, first aid, fishing is another one that you can get, trapping, I believe, survival, in other words. You can pick those up. Once the TV goes off, if you have a generator, you can get DVDs or VCR tapes and stuff like that that'll also teach these skills. First aid, big one. You're going to want to get some first aid and get it quickly. Electrical is useful, but you really only need one person to do it. Metalworking's kind of like carpentry, but carpentry is probably going to be used more often. Mechanics is going to be really important. Mechanics allows you to fix up your cars, makes your cars run easier, makes less noise, causes less zombies, Tailoring, just get new clothes and wash them. I mean, really. Firearm is aiming and reloading. Firearms are really good, except they make a whole hell of a lot of noise. There's no silencers in it, so they typically are going to do more harm than good. You shoot one zombie, you bring 5 more. So I'm not a big firearms guy, but there's some people who really dig just shooting stuff. And then of course your survivalist. This is what you do when you are not farming. So these are this is your skill sets right here. Now we'll go and we'll check out your occupations and your traits. Okay, so here we are in the occupation and traits screen, or as I like to call it, the merits and flaws screen. As you can see, if you're just regular, everyday, run-of-the-mill unemployed, you're going to have your 5 fitness and your 5 strength, and you're also going to have 8 points to spend. Now, before you can start a game, this number either needs to be a green number or 0. So with these 8 points, we can spend on any of these merits up here, which is a pretty good lengthy list of them. Once you get over 8 points, this number will turn red, and you'll need to counteract those with the flaws that are down here. Now, The point values for these and their usefulness or detriment, depending on which one you're dealing with, are not really logical, okay? Because there's some that are actually pretty cheap that are very useful. There's other ones down here that are don't give you a lot but will get you killed very quickly. So pay attention, read very carefully which ones of these you're picking, because they can make a huge difference in the type of game that you play. Now, on your traits, the big ones from your merit side I would recommend would be Cat's Eyes. Cat's Eyes allow you to see better at night. Night is very, very dark, and it's half of the game cycle, so being able to see better and further at night is a significant advantage, and for only 2 points, I mean, come on, let's do this. The other one I almost always will pick is Thick-Skinned. So Thick-Skinned, what this does is it makes it less likely for scratches or bites to break the skin. If you get bitten, you're dead. It's going to take about 2 or 3 days, but it's 100% you're going to turn into a zombie, you're going to die. Scratches, depending on the difficulty of the game, can be anywhere from 10, 15, 20% chance of turning you into a zombie. So you can see that for 8 points, being less likely to get bitten, big plus right here. Other kind of nice ones, Organized is pretty good. It allows you to cram more stuff into a container, such as a backpack where you would get the weight reduction, or refrigerators, those kinds of things. Other thing that would be kind of good to go, Fast Learner is nice. Get your XP back up quicker. Like Sora, who cares? Runner might not be too bad. Speed Demon, almost worthless. I mean, you drive really fast, but the speed limit's already 70 miles an hour, and honestly, you don't want to hit anything going 90 because you're probably going to lacerate yourself and kill yourself. Fast Reader can be useful. But these are the 2 big ones, along with, I believe, Inconspicuous and Graceful. These also make you much less likely to be detected by les zombies. On your occupations, I mean, if you want to be a Rick Grimes, you can go with your police officer. You got your aiming, you got your nimble, a little bit pulling the guns out, jumping over things, some reloading skills. Again, though, firearms are kind of a mixed blessing. And then if you want to be your Chef Ramsay type, you can go over here with cooking. You get 3 dots in cooking, which will give you some extra recipes and let you cook a little bit faster, make them more nutritious, as well as maintenance for fixing that broken stove, and Short Blade for using the kitchen knife. But personally, I always go with Burglar. Burglar, you get your light-footed, you get your nimble, and you get your sneaking. All 3 of these are going to make it less likely for a zombie to see you when you are out and about trying to loot stuff and not die. So as you can see, we've got minus 16 points down here if we went with this. So we have to come down into the flaws section and pick us some flaws. Of the flaws, the ones that I kind of prefer would be, there's smoking, which, let's see, it is a 4-point flaw. Smoking, cigarettes are pretty common. And they also will help reduce anxiety and depression moodles, so it's kind of like a gimme 4 points. It's not bad at all. I would try to avoid the agoraphobic and claustrophobic traits because you're going to be spending about half your time either indoors or outdoors, and being panicked means you're less effective when you're trying to fight off zombies. So watch out for those. Another one that I'll typically pick, let's see, where is it at? I'll do overweight or underweight. High thirst is another one. You just drink more often. Overweight. Okay, so overweight and underweight give you some actual pretty significant penalties, but if you're overweight, don't eat as much and you lose the weight. If you're underweight, eat more and you gain the weight. So these you can mitigate actually through gameplay, just how you play the game. So we need 6 points. We'll just go ahead. You know what? Let's go underweight. I'm feeling a little underweight. So now underweight will -1 fitness, so you're not going to be running for as long if you're underweight. So keep that in mind. That -1 fitness will come up and it will bite you. So then the next thing we got to do is we're going to make our characters, and then we're going to pick where we want to start. So in Zomboid, you have 4 starting locations. You've got Riverside, you've got West Point, you've got Marlborough, and you've got Rosewood. Of these four, new players usually will do better in Rosewood. It's a very small town, don't have a lot of zombies in it. Your main disadvantage you're going to get with Rosewood is that it is going to be just don't have like a lot of stuff to loot. I mean, you can still get decent loot, but it's a small town, so you don't have very many businesses or houses or stuff like that that you can get into. Your next one is Marlborough. Marlborough is a little bit bigger of a town. It's more of a poor town. Let me pull up a map of Marlborough and kind of show you a little bit here. Okay, so here's Marlborough. Marlborough's got one long drag that comes through here. I think up here you've got a gas station. This is sort of a little warehouse district thing. This is a construction yard. Construction yard is kind of going to be kind of useful. You can get axes in either here or here. You're also going to get planks, wooden logs, that kind of stuff here. Most of your businesses are going to be along this main drag, so you'll have a pharmacy. I believe there's a school. There's a gun store, I believe, that's across the street over here. This up here, like I said, is a gas station, and of course you've got your houses down here. Decent little starting area. You're going to have mid-level amount of zombies here, depending on when you start the game. You've got a couple of, like up here would be fairly secure that you probably could get to. Make a nice little base out of. You really don't want to get a base too close in here, because any kind of drama that you have that's going on, any noise, play a TV too loud, or it's going to bring a lot of zombies around. So preferably you want to have a nice spot kind of further out here. So let's go on to the next one, which will be Riverside. Okay, so here we have Riverside. Personally, Riverside is my favorite side. Mainly because you have this area right here. We call this Herschel's Farm. Herschel's Farm is all fenced, so there's fences that run along here. It's going to come up. This is fenced. This little grid over here is fenced. All of this is fenced. You've got a couple of farm plots over here ready to go, so you can start planting your vegetables and stuff for when your power runs out. There's two-story houses here with refrigerators. So it's pretty secure. But not far enough away from a main road that once you get into a car, actually coming down here into the town is maybe a 5-minute jaunt. An all-around good balanced map. This right here is a junkyard where you can pick car parts and things like that, which will be handy when you start getting yourself a collection of vehicles to make sure all your vehicles are in top order. Over here's a gas station. This is sort of a little convenience store, laundromat area. Down here you've got the Quickie Mart, or the Gigamart as they call it. This is your main supermarket, your Albertsons or Whole Foods or something like that. You're going to want to nail this fairly early while all the vegetable and the produce is still fresh. Haul it back up here, stick it in the fridge so that you've got food to cook with when you get your Gordon Ramsay guy in there. This is a school you'll be able to get books from. There's a pharmacy over here, police station. Where's the police station? I think this is the police station up here, a little burger joint. But all around, good place to start. Pretty well balanced. You'll start in here, so you want to kind of get out as quickly as you can and get up to a starting location. But any of these, like up here, wouldn't be too bad. But I almost always go for Herschel's Farm. Next one up, West Point. Okay, so here we have West Point. West Point is your other fairly large town starting position. You've got, again, I believe this is a Gigamart over here. This is you've got a police station, rifle range. There's some hospitals that are here, hardware stores. So you've pretty much got everything that you're going to need for any zombie apocalypse desires, all fairly close to your front door. Maybe this would be decent, or maybe down here for a base, or over here wouldn't be too bad, but I think that's kind of a small little house. But not too shabby. Your big thing is not to be too close into this center area right there, where there's going to be a lot of zombie goodness and very easy for you to die, because a lot of these are fenced off, and if you have wooden fences, they're almost impassable. So choose wisely where you go. Now if we go back to the outside map, as you can see, so here was your Rosewood, there's Marlborough, there's West Point, There's Riverside. Rosewood's a good starter location. The main disadvantage I see with Rosewood is it's kind of a long way to get to your next nearest town, other than March Ridge, which I believe is a new map. I haven't been there before. Getting here on foot is going to be a risky proposition, so you'll want to get a car. But once you get a car, anywhere else that you go, you're going to be so far away from where your main base is at that bringing stuff back is going to take a lot of gas. It's just going to be time consuming. Riverside's good starter location. You got Herschel's Farm. West Point over here is a good spot because Louisville, right over there, this is a new map. This is a highly urbanized area. Lots of it's going to go on in here. This is sort of where you're going to want to end up. That's where all your high-end loot's going to be, but also where there's going to be a lot of zombies. This is, I think they added this like 6 months or a year ago, but this was a big brouhaha. It took them a long time, and I think I'm getting eaten in the game. Am I getting eaten in the game? I think I'm getting eaten in the game. I heard something break. Well, I guess I better go before I die. So once again, I want to thank everybody. This has been the Papa Smoke's wonderfully amazing, informative beginner's guide to Project Zomboid. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, man. We appreciate you. And don't forget, check us out at Smokey G with 3 E's on Twitch.com. Peace out, y'all. And if you happen to see us standing on top of a garbage dumpster, flailing, trying not to get eaten, at least give us a shout out and try not to rob us blind. Thanks, guys. Peace.
And you know that I'm down to ride. We gon' keep it moving, yeah, we do this all the time. Yeah, you know that I am not like all those other guys. Yeah, you know we moving up, you know we on the rise. Ooh.